What we're doing at Eastern today is a teacher training around wind energy. It's part of a larger project in Grant and Mineral counties to sort of bring wind energy education down to the K-12 level. This is funded by a grant from Toyota, who is very interested. They buy all the wind electrons, kind of from the wind farms in this area to power their facilities in southern West Virginia. We've got about 10 teachers today up here, and we'll come back in the fall and do a bunch more training in a bunch more schools.
Wind and also solar tech programs are some of the fastest growing jobs across the country. And so in KidWind, we're essentially hoping to bring that knowledge base, that awareness of these clean energy opportunities for long-term employment down into the lower grades, just to broaden the understanding of the opportunities that exist out there within the clean energy space.
And KidWind was born about 20 years when I was teaching in 6th grade, and I had done a lot of solar with my kids, and I went to go find some stuff on wind energy, and I found nothing. So we started to develop our own tools and equipment, and we started doing with my kids, and I got a teacher fellowship to develop it all out, and it turned into an accidental career for the last 20 years, to be perfectly honest with you. I would say that our growth has been pretty crazy in the last 10 years. We're in probably every state in the United States. I have 500 trainers around the United States, and we have thousands upon thousands of kids doing wind energy and other renewables at many different levels all across the United States. We're only here because we were here first, not because we were smarter. We just did it earlier. We used to manufacture all our own equipment. Like a lot of the equipment you're gonna see up there, I invented, and we had a multi-million-dollar business, but I did not like running a warehouse and doing stuff. So I sold that to another company just to focus on the teacher development side. And how we know they're getting better is we kind of continually have to make the challenges more complex, more interesting, because they're just getting a lot smarter and they're getting a lot more like creative. So we kind of like have to stay ahead of them. So like every year we have a national KidWind challenge where like 700 kids show up from all these events around the States. And each year they just kind of continue to like invent the craziest things. They're using like 3D printers, laser cutters, CAD design. We're going like crazy. I don't think we do anything radically different than what we did 20 years ago. We have a lot more curriculum, we have a lot more materials and kits that we've developed over time, but the core of it doesn't look a whole lot different than what we were doing 20 years ago.
I feel like the class actually did prepare me quite a bit for what I would do in the field. The class kind of teaches you the terminology and the theory, and then you can kind of apply the practical parts of it when you actually are working in the field.
Matching private industry up with our educational system is important because then they understand what's required in our local area as far as workers. What I always find interesting is, while the wind turbines have the technicians and create permanent jobs, I've heard a lot of people over the years say, well, when they're building them, those are temporary jobs. And they're right, but what they don't understand is they're permanent workers. Those workers may be trained here at Eastern College in the future, and they assemble turbines in Mount Storm. But then after they're done, they move on and go someplace in Pennsylvania. They travel like a lot of construction workers, but they become permanent jobs.
So as science teachers, you're always looking to create spaces where your kids can explore open-ended topics. Wind energy tends to be, and by accident I discovered this, a space where there's kind of never-ending amounts of like complexity, but you can also do really simple things like the thing we were doing this morning with MacGyver wind and like popsicle sticks and paper. I can build a wind turbine. I can do some very complicated things with college kids, and it scales like crazy. That means kids can continue to explore and explore kind of as they are kind of going through the process.
So KidWind taught me a lot about wind and wind as energy. Matching the wind to the conversion to electricity was something that I learned. I had no idea what a generator was. I built a generator at the KidWind program. I took one home with me, and I will have my students now building a generator.
It's about creating those spaces. It's also too why we get teachers involved is it helps them teach the content matter they have to teach, like the science standards, the technology standards. So it helps them do their job just in a new and interesting way. So electricity and where we get our electricity from is kind of this black box that most people don't understand. And most science teachers are pretty interested. So when you start to open up that box, they get pretty interested in how that system works. And then especially how wind or solar or other systems plug into that system. So they're science teachers naturally curious. If you open it up a little bit for them, they're going to stay curious. And then the other key is activities. We spend a lot of time developing activities that are very engaging, hands-on, that they're going to want to do in their classrooms. We're not going to give you 2 hours of PowerPoint. We're not going to do that kind of stuff. So we're giving them activities we know work. We've tested them. Our model of the way we run the organization is very decentralized. Like we kind of generate a lot of content. A lot of it is open source, meaning anybody, it's all free to download off the site, so that helps.
Teachers are notoriously underfunded. I get $400 a year to pay for all the supplies for chemistry, physics, physical science, AP biology. Yesterday I was given 3 turbines to take home to my classroom. And the teacher next door to me got 3 also. So now we have 6 turbines that we can both borrow from each other to do labs. So it is the free stuff that I'm actually making the effort for, as well as the education, because we're not funded well. We're just not.
With the resources from Toyota, we can now do the next step. So these teachers will get an email that says, hey, you saw some cool stuff the last 2 days. I have some money, we can buy you some equipment to do that in your classroom. Then we'll get them all the materials. Then if they do it and they write up, say, half a page paper, we're gonna pay them. Because I'm a big believer that you have to pay teachers for their time to integrate new content. And then we'll come back later, do additional training and continue to build their knowledge. So a lot about teacher training and teacher uptake is this like sustained support. You can't just come in for a day, do it and then walk away. It's gonna be like a 2-year process where we continue to like improve their knowledge and skill sets and things like that too. A big report came out from the feds. It was called the Wind Vision Report. Their study came out and said, we have all this technology, we just we're not gonna have the employees. For 10 years, we've been saying yes, and there's a lot of research like, where does workforce begin? Does it begin when you're in college? When do you want to do the thing you want to do? And there's a lot of research that shows like 5th to 7th grade, you need to lay the seeds that these careers exist. So we've been like harping about this for a long time. We are now in a moment where we need so many employees in these fields, we didn't do our homework, and it's going to be a big problem right now. What's happening though is I'm getting more money than I've ever raised in my life because there's like, we need workers. And I'm like, well, they're sitting in 5th grade, they're sitting in 7th grade. Yeah, we can take some high schoolers and turn them into workers, but this is a long-term problem. So I would say now we have the resources, but it's gonna take time. And if we don't do it, we're just not gonna have, right now, the offshore wind industry in the United States is wants to be very big. Most of those workers right now are gonna be imported from Europe, or we're gonna have to send them to Europe to get trained. We have not built that industry. And these are 10-year-long processes. So we're reaping a little bit of that problem right now. If we don't do it, we just won't have the bodies to work in these industries. And the other big thing in these industries like utilities or electrical is a lot of the people in them are kind of retiring. They're getting older. So you have 2 problems. You don't have enough workers, and the ones who know what's going on are getting out of the business. So it's a pretty big issue. So we're already there, so we got to work on it harder. But we do have a lot of anecdotal stories nowadays. I have lots of them in my files. Like, hey, I learned about KidWind and a KidWind challenge, and now I'm in college and I'm gonna be a wind engineer, or I'm gonna work in the wind industry. So we have lots and lots of anecdotal stories. Those are very rewarding. The most rewarding part of the job for me is this. I like hanging out with teachers and training them and helping them understand how to bring it into their classrooms and customizing it for their spaces.